What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dudes Who Bet Daily, October 2nd, 2022. Happy anniversary to my parents, first and foremost. We got a full day of football today. Already frustrated with the Minnesota Vikings and their lackadaisical red zone offense. Been absolutely brutal as a Vikings backer so far. But we got football going on right now. We got a ton of good horse racing as well. Multiple graded stakes at Aqueduct and at Santa Anita. We'll jump into that too. So we got a lot to cover here. Jared, welcome back to the show. We'll give you first reign here. Bills against the Ravens. Ravens are catching 3 at home, and the Bills are basically an infirmary right now. You have any thoughts on this game?
I mean, it feels a little bit like, the Bills just lost in such brutal fashion last week, and Miami kind of, I think they show that they're legit, but obviously that was a tough game for them on Thursday night with Tua too as well. So it's like, I think the Bills are bouncing back here. It's like, even though their defense is not as good as I think maybe it's advertised, plus with the injuries of Hyde and the likes, like this is going to be like, can they slow down Lamar enough? That I just think that the wheels are, I wouldn't say come off, but I like the Bills to bounce back here in this game.
Yeah, Aaron, I know you almost went with over Lamar passing touchdowns, 1.5 in this game. Pretty high total here, sitting on the board at 50. It's actually come down from 55 because of weather issues there in Baltimore. We're going to talk about another weather game in Philadelphia soon. You backed off this. Was it mainly a weather issue, or what's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, check the weather forecast. Didn't look good. And also just kind of end of the day, thought, do I really want to rely on Lamar to throw the ball into the end zone twice? I do think, he's going to run the ball pretty well today, like always, but I just was a little bit leery. Also went back and really looked at this Bills defense. It's kind of the untalked about thing about this football team, right? I mean, Josh Allen and the explosive plays and all that. This Bills defense has shut down some pretty nice offenses. It was certainly not the defense fault last week that they lost that game. So I backed off of it. I still kind of think if you want to play it, plus money on it is not bad. At the end of the day, I don't know that he is all that reliable against a good defense like this.
Yeah, I actually sprinkled some Baltimore money line plus 150. I like that more than catching the 3. I think that if they are able to really move the ball well and put the ball in the end zone, they're going to be tough to beat at home, especially with the injuries you got on the Bills side. Papa Dude, quarterback who wins this game, probably your MVP favorite in this spot. Would you agree with that?
Well, first of all, Aaron, that's really sensible. You're finally making sense here. You don't pick Lamar Jackson to throw touchdown passes, okay? Running touchdowns, okay? Not passing. Mahomes, yes. I know you've missed on him, but not Jackson. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yes. I cannot – I don't trust Baltimore. I just don't trust them. I've seen them lose games. I got to go with the Bills. I'm like Jared. I got to go with the Bills. I just love their defense. I know they're hurt in the secondary, but is that going to be a factor against Jackson? I don't know. So I'm sticking with Buffalo again. I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore wins, but I really think Buffalo's going to win the game.
A lot of Lamar Jackson passing slander going on here, and I'm not going to have it. He's got 10 passing touchdowns, guys. He's been airing it out, and he's been effective here through 3 weeks. Come on.
You and Ricky, my God.
Oh, man. We got one other major weather game here that's really been affected. The total's gone from 48.5 all the way down to 44 in Jacksonville and Philadelphia. However, we're still sitting on 6.5. So usually when you see that, you see some money coming on the dog because you'd assume it's going to be a little bit closer game. We have not seen that money come in. I thought this was a little too high. Or it's a little too low at 6.5. I thought it should be on the other side of 7. With the weather, it's a little tougher, but you're probably going to see a little bit more running. I like the props on both quarterbacks over rushing, 13.5 for Trevor Lawrence, 50 for Hurts. Jared, did you look at this game? Any thoughts on Jacksonville versus Philadelphia?
Well, first thoughts were I'm glad I traded away Kirk this week because it seems like a game that they're going to be running the ball, be on the ground a lot. It's going to be one of those ugly games that is not necessarily fun to watch. The fact that it keeps going down, this is a great game though, just from a sense of 2 teams that maybe you weren't expecting to be this good. You wish you wish it was more of a level playing field with the weather and things like that. But Jacksonville's, they're for real. Like I'm surprised as anyone. But and so is Philly. I think Philly's the team. I'd be, they're the NFC favorites right now, no doubt about it. So I think you can trust the Eagles. It's funny to say you can trust the Eagles more here, considering Hurts is playing at an MVP level. So I think I'd lean towards them but I'm gonna stay away from this one, to be honest with you, because any kind of weather game like this with two teams that maybe have outperformed a little bit early on in the year, like I want to stay away.
Vikings just get a massive defensive penalty to continue a drive. We got about 5 minutes left in that game. Vikings down 3 now in Saints territory. So keep an eye on that as well. I'm so angry that the Vikings are losing right now. It's ridiculous. Papa Dudes, thoughts on Philadelphia and your boy Jalen Hurts, another quarterback you love throwing the football.
Love Jalen Hurts. I've loved Jalen Hurts before everybody else has loved Jalen Hurts. I want to point that out. I still think he's one of the best quarterbacks OU had. I still think he carried us that entire season. I'm the only one in Oklahoma that thinks that. But anyway, let's look at and see who the Eagles have beat here. Okay, they beat the big bag Detroit Lions. Wow, that is an impressive win. Okay, Minnesota, they suck. That's not a good one. I mean, come on. A lot of teams are going to beat them. Sorry, I know you like them. And they beat the Washington Commanders, and suddenly they're the NFC favorites. That is bullshit. They are not going to win the NFC. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I love them. I'm waiting for them to fall. I'm waiting for them to have a bad game. It could be today. I'm with Jared. I do like Jacksonville. And I know I watched Trevor Lawrence play through college. No doubt this kid is going to be a star if they've got enough pieces around him. I think the line's a little high myself. I think the Eagles might scratch out a win here. I almost took Jacksonville plus 6.5 as my best bet today. I'm kind of waiting for Mr. Hurts to kind of have a bad game. I'm kind of thinking this could be the day.
Now, Papa Dude brings up the opponents that we've seen from Philadelphia. Let's talk about Jacksonville's opponents, Aaron.
Okay.
We've had an absolutely decimated Chargers team who they beat. They had a Colts team missing both of their starting wide receivers who had to go to Florida and play in the heat. And they lost to the Commanders. That Papa Dude referenced is the last win. And by the way, the Commanders were laying 3.5 at home. Philly's laying 6.5 at home against the same team. Are we saying that the Commanders are only 3 points better than Philly?
Both these teams are dramatically overrated. Dramatically overrated. Are they better? Yes. Are they contenders to go all the way? No. This Jacksonville team is severely overrated. However, so are the Eagles. Like I said, I think it's going to be right around that number. I think the Eagles win. I would probably lean taking the points with Jacksonville because that is a lot of points. But I think they're both overrated. I don't know how good either one of them truly are. Now, here's the key to this Jacksonville team. After today, schedule really doesn't get much harder until they get into that AFC West kind of grind that they're going to have about the midseason where they play the Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs back to back to back. But their rest of that schedule is not that difficult. So they've got a chance to make a little bit of a run, maybe get into the playoffs. I don't think either team is really a legitimate contender. But again, I'll take Jacksonville in the points. I think it'll be a really competitive game today.
But
to like Jacksonville,
that point, look, I mean, how overrated are both of these teams going to be, say, week 10? Because, the Eagles, their schedule is the Jags today. They got the Cardinals. They got the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Texans, the Commanders again. Like, week 10, they could be 9-1 or something, if you think they're over, and they might be week 11, the Colts, and they finally play the Packers week 12. But yeah, it's not, their schedule is extremely, because that's a terrible division as well. So their schedule is cake, really.
I wouldn't hate parlaying these two teams to win the division. You're getting plus 225 right now in Jacksonville. They were plus 350 last week, so it's probably a little bit better bet then. The Eagles should run away with the NFC East. The rest of that division is terrible. I was hoping the Giants would be a little better. They're not. They will get over that 6.5 win total we gave out, but they will not be winning the division. I'm pretty certain of that right now. By the way, Minnesota just gets in the end zone. So Minnesota 26-22 over there in London. All right, let's jump over the horse racing world here. We've got two races we want to talk about before we get into the best bets of the day. We'll start out at Belmont here, the grade 1 Frizette. Really interesting race for the 2-year-old fillies. You've got you got the 4-horse Chocolate Gelato on the board at 9-5. Really touted horse, loses in debut, comes back and absolutely airs second time out. The 6-horse, the Great Maybe, your second choice on the board, sitting here at 7-2 for Sherry DeVoe, one of those trainers that I absolutely love. Sneaky good trainer, pops a 82 buyer first out and absolutely looks dominant there. Aaron, let's start with you here. Great Maybe, Chocolate Gelato, somebody else. Where are you headed?
Well, I was going to play Chocolate Gelato as my best bet here, but two things. I'm worried about what the price is going to be. And I really was impressed with the Great Maybe. And I was impressed enough to kind of go, well, I'll kind of back off playing Chocolate Gelato as this best bet at a shorter price. I was very impressed. We talked about this horse at length, Chocolate Gelato, for that debut because It was the very first maiden special weight of the meet at Saratoga. She had a lot of hype. She did not run to the hype. Next time out, ran to that hype. It was really, really good. But the Great Maybe was good on debut. So, I just couldn't do it. I do want to mention a horse that was scratched, and that's the number 3, Raging Sea. I thought the horse had a shot today. This is a horse by Curlin out of a Stormcat mare, stretching out this horse. Keep an eye on the Raging Sea for Chad Brown, the number 3 horse. Did scratch, and so obviously not going to make an impact today. I wonder if they're thinking a 2-turn race, maybe at Keeneland, maybe next weekend for this horse. I think that would fit her really well. Got an eye on that. But as far as this race goes, it's a 2-horse race, in my opinion, between the 4 and the 6. I took the 4. Let's see what happens. It's going to be fun.
We were about to get 6+1 back-to-back days on Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt on a closer in a race with a ton of speed. Who would have thunk it, right? Blazing Sevens got the job done yesterday at 8-1. This was a very similar setup for Raging Sea. I was a little bummed she came out. Jared, did you end up here on Chocolate Gelato, the favorite, or do you want to take a shot somewhere else?
Yeah, I hate the price because I know we're gonna get low. This one gave me enough pause, like Halterman said. Like I think the 4 is gonna win, but if the horse, that race, the first race was not great, and then of course goes to the lead, and this is this is a Breeders' Cup win you're in for the juvenile fillies. So obviously these are serious horses, or at least supposed to be serious horses in the division, trying to get in there. I think the 4 is going to try to make this thing go gate to wire, but I like the way the 6 draws outside and has enough early speed, like we saw on debut. Should be able. I mean, pop an 85 or 82 buyer that day should increase it here, second out, and you think the 6 would be able to sit a trip right off the 4, and if the horse, if the horse is good enough, can pounce late. So I like the 4 to win, but I'm not going to be singling by any means in this race because I think that 6 is dangerous enough.
Yeah, I've got Chocolate Gelato on top. I considered making Chocolate Gelato my best bet of the day, but I'm actually worried about a different horse that you guys didn't mention. The number 2 horse, American Rocket, for the Bill Mott barn. Alvarado up here. Great debut over a good track, so over a little wet track. Comes back in the second race there in the spinaway. Doesn't break well, bolts on the break actually, then is caught 4 wide on the turn. Terrible trip, just draw a line through it there. Now we're getting the 2 post in a race where there is a ton of speed, and this is your lone closer. This is exactly the same setup as yesterday after you lost the 3 horse. This horse is going to come from off the pace. They're going mile. None of these horses have really gone this far. You got a ton of speed that's going to set up for it. I think American Rocket is really dangerous in this spot. I'm going to play a 4-2 cold exact, and I'm going to also be using both of these in the multi races. Aaron, did you consider the 2 at all, or you chucking this one out?
Yeah, the 2 becomes kind of the other horse to play with the 3 scratching out of it. I don't know. From a speed figure standpoint, has been kind of slow. That was my main worry, my main concern. But it does kind of have a feel of it's going to get pretty spicy up front, right? And you said it. We saw that yesterday, and Blazing Sevens just picked them apart in the stretch, just absolutely dominated in the stretch. And really, that race, it wasn't that fast either. So today could, I should say, be a little bit faster. So yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure if this horse is as good as Blazing Sevens. I think that's the big question mark.
Yeah, this is definitely a step up for her. So we'll see if she's able to pull it off. All right, let's head over to Santa Anita. We're going to actually look at the non-graded stakes at Santa Anita, the 5th race, mainly because we have the return of Speedboat Beach for the Bob Baffert barn. This horse sets the track record, going 5.5 furlongs in debut at Del Mar. Wild. Gets a 104 buyer. And Baffert, who kind of sucks on turf, sends this horse to turf, Jared. What do you think here from Speedboat Beach? Interesting spot.
Great question. I mean, it's, I think we all live by the fact, like, if Bob Baffert's got a horse, especially when it comes to a 2-year-old, well, the horse is probably very good. The horse is probably, he knows how to win with these 2-year-olds. So the fact that they've opted to not go that route, it's sired by Bayern, so you think stretching out would be okay. But the fact that they've decided to go this route tells you, why would they not think this horse is going to win here? So I guess they think the turf is where this horse wants. I don't know. Also, maybe you got a better answer than I do of why when I saw this horse ended up here, I was, this can't be right. Like, is that the same? It's like, that's the same horse that broke the track. I was like, no, it was. So, I mean, it's really fast. I would imagine this horse is going to go gate to wire here, right? I don't think there's any secret about that. So the horse has been working out fantastic. So the horse is going to be geared up. But I guess I'm singling and just kind of holding my breath a little bit to see what this horse does.
Yeah, it's interesting to find him here on the turf. I think personally, it really says how much Baffert likes Cave Rock in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and that's why this horse is ending up on the turf, wanting to try and get both a turf sprinting win and a juvenile win there. Aaron, would you kind of agree with that comment? And you think this is an easy wire-to-wire victory?
It seems like that's exactly what it says, right? Maybe, Cave Rock's a little bit ahead as far as we got a stakes race under our belt, and we're a little more prepared maybe to go a mile 16th in this race coming up next weekend at Santa Anita. And we just love Cave Rock. And so let's just throw this horse in here. And what the hell? We'll try to win 2 Breeders' Cup races. I love playing speed dirt horses when they go to the turf. So I'm not worried whatsoever. I think speed carries, I think it translates to the turf. So I think the horse will go gate to wire today. I mean, we'll see how he looks on the turf. If he looks the same, they're probably going to win 2 Breeders' Cup races, because I don't see another turf sprinter that'll look as good as him if he goes out there and does what he could do on the dirt last out. So an awkward move for sure. We'll see what happens. That's about the best way I could put it. I'm kind of with Jared. I singled, and just like, if he handles it, should be a paid workout.
Halterman, do you also think maybe that, I was thinking maybe just like you kind of said, like maybe he's just not quite ready to be stretching him out. And if you think about the 2-year-old colt division, there's not a sprint for the 2-year-olds. You know what I mean? So it's like, where are you going to go with this horse if you don't think he can even get close to matching up with Cave Rock? Sprinting on the turf is kind of, the answer, right?
Yeah, you don't have the option. There used to be a Breeders' Cup Juvenile dirt sprint, and that's where like a horse like Secret Circle for Bob Baffert went in there and won. You don't have that option anymore. So maybe that's what it is. We'll just try the turf. It's going to be really funny or weird or however you want to put it. If he wins here, then wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile turf sprint, and then we're going 2-turn routing, right? Because that's going to happen. That would be wild.
This is a son of Bayern who generally takes to the turf. This just screams Los Alamitos horse to me. Like, this is just a really fast horse that wants that kind of turfy track, and we know Baffert does very well there. So I wouldn't be shocked if you see a win in the Breeders' Cup, and then this horse ends up in those graded stakes at Los Alamitos to see if he can snatch one down there to try and take some points and see what happens there before having to face Cave Rock. I'll also be interested to see if both these horses end up on the Derby Trail, who's going where. Because you're probably not having Cave Rock and Speedboat Beach in the same race at any point because of how much speed they both possess. All right, let's jump over to the best bets for the day here. Papa Dude, we haven't heard from you very much, so we'll let you kick us off here after a nice pick yesterday, getting Kentucky home early and starting our day right. Who are you taking today from the NFL?
Well, my best bet is tomorrow night. That's the one I wanted to bet, and that's the Rams and the 49ers. So I'm just going to throw that out there because we don't have a show tomorrow. I don't know how the Rams are underdogs in this game. So that would be my best bet of all the pro games this week would be I would take the Rams to beat the 49ers tomorrow night. So I scratched around a little bit, and I thought I'd go with one that's a little bit safer than some of this because we need to get a few wins. I probably will miss this one. But I like the Cowboys today. I don't like Washington at all. They're at home. If the game was in Washington, I might go the other way. I think they covered the 3 points. They're going to have to play bad to lose. Again, they're really bragging on Rush. We may see him come down a little bit today, but I don't think Washington's good enough to do it. Dallas's defense is playing lights out. I think they cover. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys -3 today in Dallas.
I would expect we're going to see the Cowboys defensive line wreak absolute havoc. We saw that with Philadelphia against Washington. I think, what was it? He got hit 11 times in the first half, I believe it was. Carson Wentz did. You'd think that the Cowboys are going to have an absolute day here. So I like that. Hopefully they can get up early and never look back. All right, Jared, do you want to give us your best bet here, taking us with a little same game parlay?
Oh yeah, here we are. I went through. I didn't like a lot of these games in terms of like, trusting a team to get the job done. So other than other like a spread, especially. So I kind of looked at the Chargers Houston game. Obviously, I think Chargers are going to win. So I have them on the money line. But as from a man who owns Eckler in fantasy, this guy is due to break out. Like he's due for a big game. And all I need is a touchdown from him. And old Herbs need to throw 2 touchdowns. I mean, Herbert can throw 2 touchdowns against the Texans, right? So I just think this game kind of screams Chargers route. I don't like the Texans really at all. The Chargers are -6. So Eckler to score anytime. Herbert 2+ touchdowns and the Chargers win. You get him almost plus 200 there. I think that's anytime you have a prop that's got 3 legs to it is dicey. But I think the Chargers winning is, I feel okay about that, right? I feel like that's a lock, as lock as you can get. And you're shaking your head. Dude, the Texans suck.
I'll recap all this when it's my turn.
Keep going.
I'm done. There you go. That's a lock.
I actually like Pierce over rushing. The Chargers cannot stop the run. I think
I almost added Pierce in there and took out the one of those other ones. But yeah, I like him too.
So we'll see if they're able to move the ball. Aaron, you want to rebut this real quick because you seem like
yours, and then let me go last.
All right,
I've got something funny that I thought of while you guys were talking.
He's got Texans. That's his bet.
No,
he's going to the races. I'm gonna go ahead and play Cleveland Browns here. Look, I played Atlanta last week. They were up in Seattle. They've spent 2 weeks on the West Coast. Now they're coming back. Their defense is awful. Their offense can move the football, but their defense is bad. I think that the Browns are going to absolutely run the ball all over Atlanta today. If Seattle can move the ball with Geno Smith and those running backs against Atlanta, the Browns should have no issue doing it. I think this line is way too light, specifically because of how well you saw Atlanta play up in Seattle last week. So give me the Brownies -1. I think they absolutely roll today. All right, Aaron.
My turn? Okay, here we go.
We'll throw it over to you. Belmont at Aqueduct, or you want to talk about something else first?
Well, I want to point out one thing, okay? I think all 3 of your bets should hit. All 3 of you. This is going to I need to charge my phone right now. You guys are going to be so pissed during these games. You guys are relying on Dallas, the Chargers, and the Browns.
That's true.
All 3 of those bets look like gimmies to me. But the Dallas, the Chargers, and the Browns, I bet all 3 of you have to sweat this out until at the final buzzer of these games.
Counterpoint, we're actually relying on Atlanta, Houston, and Washington all sucking.
That's the positive side.
That is the positive side. The negative sides are
I'm currently relying
the Cowboys and the Browns.
I'm relying on Kirk Cousins leading a game-winning field goal drive here with sub 2 minutes. So that's how my day's starting.
Here's my biggest prediction. You can't make a bet on this, at least not that I could find. This is going to be one of the craziest days we've ever seen in the NFL. I think these games are so evenly matched. I think most of the teams in the NFL are garbage, including the 2 teams that are playing right now. And when that happens, crazy shit happens. Like the football's not clean, but it's good. And there you go. The Saints give up a big pass play. Vikings are probably going to win. But again,
by the way,
they Vikings -2.5. Well, you had Vikings -2.5 against the freaking Andy Dalton-led Saints, and you've had to sweat this out all the way to the buzzer.
With no Kamara and no Michael Thomas, which we said on Thursday would happen. We got everything we wanted. This game closed 3.5 -115, got way better the number. And for some reason, they suck in the red zone. We're just sweating the crap out of this.
Because these teams in the NFL this year are not very good. Right? Like there's not really a good team.
Well, to your point, the good teams are playing each other today. Yeah, and so you have the Colts versus the Titans, which we haven't even talked about. What the hell is going to happen in that game? I mean, there's a bunch of those. The Bears are playing the Giants, both 2-1. What the
Hey.
hell's going to happen in that game?
One of you three tell me what's going to happen in tonight's Chiefs game. I'd love to know because
I have
I
no
think
clue.
that game is.
I don't know.
It's unpredictable. You can't predict.
Yeah.
I have
Well,
no
have you
idea.
seen the line? It's completely shifted to Tampa now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's-
Makes no sense.
Jared, I have no idea what's going to happen in that game.
I don't either. I've got no idea. So
Yeah.
Somebody
It's,
tell me what's going to happen in Carolina, Arizona. I mean, this is going to be a nightmare for bettors. Y'all are going to sweat these bets out like crazy.
How about
So,
the
all right, here's the good news. Mine's going to last 2 minutes, and we're either going to win or we're going to lose. And then we're going to move on, but we're not going to sweat it out. I'm going with – now, listen, you guys took the
But don't you like to have? It's more fun to watch your bet the whole 3 hours versus just getting beat for 2 seconds and you're done.
Hey,
I don't
man,
know about
I'm going
that.
to turn on
Based
that
on
red
this
zone
Vikings
and have a
game, I'm
great
not sure
time
if
all
you're right,
day.
Jared.
I'm just going to laugh all day long when Dallas is ahead like 6-3 with a minute to go, and the Commanders are driving, and Herbert's got like 1 touchdown, and the Chargers are down 4, and they're driving to win the game. I mean, it's gonna be great. Listen, this bet here, I'm very busy for Chad Brown in the 9th at Belmont at Aqueduct. Look, it's a situation where on debut, I wrote by the source, future star. Like, he was so good on debut. The problem is I am worried about the condition of the turf course. We saw it play really heavy to speed horses yesterday. I'm going to guess it's kind of changed a bit. I mean, but we'll see. We'll see if I'm very busy can kind of come from out of it a little bit and win. That's the worry. I think he's a potential star. I really do. So, like I said, you guys are relying on all those teams. I'm relying on Chad Brown on the turf at Naira. So I'll probably lose and you three will win, but I really think I'm very busy as a future star. I was super impressed with this horse on debut at Saratoga. I'm ready to see him today. Tough race, but I think he can get it done.
Tough race, tough post. I thought that was the one knock really, and I'm very busy, is that they're going to be hung out there in the 10 post and how he's going to work out a trip. But I like it quite a bit. All right, we're supposed to be a 50-minute show. We're almost at 30 minutes, so we're going to let everybody go here. But before we do that, let's wrap up the best bets. We'll pull this up right here. Aaron or Papa Dude taking the Cowboys -3 at home. Aaron's going to Belmont at Aqueduct. Race number 9, number 10, 7-5 on the morning line. I'm going to play the Brownies -1. Jared taking a same game parlay. Eckler TD. Herbert 2 TD plus passes. Chargers on the money line. Total for +120 or 195 there. Nice little price. For the week, we are 7-8, down $175. For the year, we are up $2,439 off $100 base bets. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We will be back on Wednesday with more best bets around the sports and horse racing world. Have a good one. Good luck today at the track. Good luck today with all of your sweats that are going to be epically important here in the NFL. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday.